Hello, hello! My name is Callista and welcome back to Dragon Age Origins. In the last episode, we finished up helping Lothering, and we are now finally in the party camp. We have time to just stop and check in with all our party members, see how they're doing. And now, before I actually continue speaking to people, I remembered I bought some stuff at the end of the last episode, and I never actually handed it out. So, let's see, what did I get? This would be good for Leliana. And Sten, my dear, you can have this. There we go. And I believe I also got, yes, a Tome of Physical Technique. I'll be taking that. Okay, what do I want? Deadly Strike would be good, but you know what? I think I'm going to go for that passive. There we go. Now then, I have decided who I want to speak to next. I am going to start off with Leliana over here. Hello, my dear.
Yes?
I'd like to talk. I think you should go. Nothing, never mind. I'd like to talk.
Well, here I am.
This vision of yours, yeah, I think that's very important. As I mentioned, Artin really doesn't get the chant of light and the idea of praising something that you can't really see. She's kind of thinking maybe this vision is kind of like her stone sense. Maybe she's never heard of any surface dwellers being able to do that, but maybe Leliana's the first. What was life like in the Chantry Cloister? What would someone like you be doing in Lothering's Chantry? Let's just move on. This vision of yours.
I knew this would come up sooner or later. I don't know how to explain, but I had a dream. In it, there was an impenetrable darkness. It was so dense, so real. And there was a noise, a terrible, ungodly noise. I stood on a peak and watched as the darkness consumed everything. And when the storm swallowed the last of the sun's light, I fell, and the darkness drew me in.
What then? So it's just a dream. Why say it's a vision? You dreamed of the Blight? That doesn't mean anything. Again, this is also something Artin doesn't understand. Dwarves don't dream. Maybe dreams are like some kind of maker sense. Who knows? You dreamed of the Blight?
I suppose I did. That was what the darkness was, no? When I woke, I went to the Chantry's gardens, as I always do. But that day, the rosebush in the corner had flowered. Everyone knew that bush was dead. It was grey and twisted and gnarled, the ugliest thing you ever saw. But there it was, a single beautiful rose. It was as though the Maker stretched out his hand to say, even in the midst of this darkness, there is hope and beauty. Have faith.
That's just wishful thinking, Leliana. And this made you want to help me? Did you hear voices? I don't need your Maker interfering in my life. This is an odd one. Because Artin does have faith. She has faith in the stone. It's just that the stone is physical. You can see it and touch it and smell it. The Maker is invisible for all Artin. She's kind of like, does he talk to them? Is this what happens? I don't get it. I think it's between 1 or 2. Because number 4 is just rude. Artin does have faith. The stone gives her stone sense. So I don't think... From a place of having faith, I think she can kind of get what Leliana's driving at. And this made you want to help me?
In my dream, I fell. Or maybe I jumped. I'd do anything to stop the Blight. I know that we can do it. There are so many good things in the Maker's world. How can I sit by while the blight devours everything?
The Chantry says the Maker has left us. The blight is the Maker's punishment. Bullshit. Will you defy him? I suppose I couldn't sit by either. I don't like 1 or 2. Because, again, Artin thinks that the, to be perfectly honest, Artin thinks that a lot of what the Chantry says about the Darkspawn is really stupid. The Darkspawn came from underground. As a dwarf, Artin knows this. The fact that the Chantry has kind of ascribed some kind of, no, they came from the sky, and the Magisters ripped a hole in the air, and there was a city. She's kind of like, that's really stupid. That's like the one thing about the Chantry where she'd be like rolling her eyes and being like, this is so idiotic. How can anyone believe this? The rest of it, she's kind of like, it's their faith. They probably look at the stone and think that's silly. But, like, I'll respect their stuff as long as they respect mine. The thing about the blight, however, nah, that's stupid. At the same time, I don't really like number 3 either, but it's like the lesser of the evils. I suppose I couldn't sit by either.
That is why you're a Grey Warden. Come, there's a blight to stop.
There is, and I want to talk to you again.
Yes?
I'd like to talk.
Well, here I am.
What was life like in the Chantry Cloister?
Quiet. It was a life suited for contemplation. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities, I found peace. And in that stillness, I could hear the Maker. But it was not perfect. Some of my Chantry fellows were condescending. That is the nature of religious folk, I suppose.
Condescending? How so? Yes, they tend to be self-righteous. That's why I'm not particularly fond of them. Again, I don't think Artin's used to religious people being condescending, again, because the stone is physical. If someone comes up to her and says, I got into this last episode, I believe, but if someone comes up to her and says the stone isn't real, all she has to do is, like, tap the floor and be like, oh, isn't it? Isn't it? What are we stood on? So I don't think there would be a lot of condescension in regards to the stone. Condescending? How so?
When I talked about my beliefs, that the Maker reveals himself in the beauty of his world, they treated me with disdain. They want to believe that he's gone, so that when he turns his gaze on them, it means they are special, chosen. He cannot possibly have love for all, the sick and the weary, the beggars and the fools.
I don't really want the Maker looking in on me anyway. What did you say to them? I prefer your ideas to the ideas of the Chantry, but you must earn the Maker's blessing. Not number 1. Artin doesn't really believe in the Maker. It's kind of like replace Maker with unicorn. Like, that's kind of how she views it. Like, she doesn't believe in the Maker. If Leliana says the Maker's looking over her, then that's nice, but she doesn't really believe it. So also not number 4. How can you earn the Maker's blessing if the Maker doesn't exist? These are all the thoughts of Artin, by the way. The thoughts of the character are not the thoughts of the role player. Artin has learned a little bit about the Chantry, about how the Maker has gone, and, you know, when the chant returns to the 4 corners of the world, he'll come back. She didn't really understand it, but I think she learned a little bit, and I think she'd prefer Leliana's kind of thoughts that the Maker loves everyone, no matter who they are. I prefer your ideas to the ideas of the Chantry.
Thank you. Maybe I am wrong. But it is the Maker's place to decide if I am worthy, not men, not the Chantry. But there is work to be done, and I have talked enough for now.
Okie doke. Fair point. Now then, Sten, buddy, you were in that cage for a very long time. How are you doing?
Why are we stopping?
Never mind, let's keep moving. I think we should talk for a moment. We're working together. I think I should get to know you. Let's just get a few things straight. I think we should talk for a moment.
There are darkspawn to be fought. Is this delay needful?
Never mind, let's keep moving. I need to know if I can trust you at my back. Are you alright? You were in that cage for weeks. What's your hurry? Yeah, I think her thought is that he was without food or water for a very long time. Are you alright? You were in that cage for weeks.
You are concerned. No need. I am fit enough to fight.
We should get moving. I've never seen a Qunari before. Tell me about your people. You said you were in the army. Why did you offer to help me? You said you were in the army?
I am.
Have you ever fought in war? What made you decide to become a soldier? Why would the Qunari send soldiers here? Have you ever fought in a war?
I have always fought in war, dwarf.
What do you mean by that? So you must know your way around a battlefield then. Why did you offer to help me? I've never seen a Qunari before. Tell me about your people. It's between 1 or 2. I think Artin and Sten have a lot in common. Given how Qunari societies... Artin wouldn't know any of this. As a player, I know this. Excuse me. Callista. Breathe. Speak decent English. There we go. Given how Qunari society is run, and the dwarven caste system, they're very similar. A dwarf doesn't choose to become a soldier. They are a soldier. A Qunari doesn't choose to become a soldier. They are assigned to be a soldier. They're very, very similar. And again, I think the dwarves have always fought in war. They've always been at war with the Darkspawn, so I think she understands some of what he's saying. So you must know your way around a battlefield, then?
Some of them. They aren't all alike.
Are you always this bad about answering questions? I don't think he's being bad about answering questions. His answers are very short, but they're answers. I think she has heard of the Qunari. As I mentioned, the dwarves have an embassy in Minrathous. So she would have heard of the Qunari. I've never seen a Qunari before. Tell me about your people.
No.
Ha. No, why not? Please? I wasn't expecting that. No, why not?
People are not simple. They cannot be summarized for easy reference in the manner of... The Elves are a lithe, pointy-eared people who excel at poverty.
Ouch. Why did you offer to help me? To be fair, he didn't offer to help us. And I don't think he's being hostile. I think this is just how he talks. Never mind. Let's keep moving.
As you wish.
Okay. And I'm going to try talking to him again. I like to talk to them in batches of 2s or 3s.
Yes.
I have a question. What were you doing in that cage? I think you should leave. Let's go. Number 2 is an interesting question. Because I don't think it's implying, like, what were you physically doing in the cage? I think it's more of a, what were you doing for all of those weeks? What were you doing in that cage?
Sitting, as you observed.
That's not what I meant. Very funny. Do you have to be so literal? Cute, you're the silent type, I see. Very funny.
Thank you.
Oh. Fine, let's drop this for now. Are you going to answer my question? You're impossible. Just tell me. You don't like me much, do you? Well, he's only just met her. Like, we can't expect him to just, like, be groveling at her feet immediately. Are you going to answer my question?
I did.
Fair.
Was there anything else?
Let's go.
As you wish.
Whoa! Excuse me? Yeah, we did get +7. Okay, Sten. Thank you. Now then, Morrigan, off on her own. How are you doing, my dear?
What do you wish of me?
I'd like to ask you something.
If you must.
How did you become a shape changer? Did you grow up in the Kakari wilds? Have you ever been hunted by the Chantry? Is Flemeth really what she seems? Ooh. All very good questions. Did you grow up in the Kokari Wilds?
Why do you ask me such questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I?
You could if you wanted to. I'm curious what's wrong with that. Fine, I will leave you be. It's my favourite way of annoying you. Ooh. To be perfectly honest, I don't like any of these responses. What Artin's trying to do, she's trying to create bonds with her people. She wants them to... How do I put this? She wants them to give it their all on the battlefield, and she's their commander. Like, if you don't have a commander that inspires you, or is at the very least... you need to have a good relationship with the person who's in command, in Artin's opinion. So she's trying to get to know these people, to create those bonds, so that... how do I put this? I think I got what I was trying to say across, I think. I hope. I'm curious. What's wrong with that?
Any number of cats could inform you of the answer to that question, but have it your way. What is it you asked? If I grew up in the wilds? A curious question. Where else would you picture me? For many years it was simply Flemeth and I. The wilds and its creatures were more real to me than Flemeth's tales of the world of man. In time, I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a civilized wilderness.
Excuse me, I'm gonna have to cut that out. And you remained unnoticed, but you kept going back to the wilds. I have a hard time picturing that. And you remained unnoticed?
For the most part. Flemeth taught me well. For all that I had been taught, however, the truth of the civilized lands proved to be... overwhelming. I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for.
You must have looked quite the fool, very daring, that sounds like you. I can just imagine where you hurt. This is curious. I think it is daring. To go into a land that you really don't know, that you've only been prepared so much for. Sounds rather like Artin. Yeah, I think Artin sees herself as being daring. Maybe that's a little big-headed of her, but she's someplace entirely unfamiliar. And I think she can empathize with Morrigan a little bit. Very daring. That sounds like you.
Equal parts daring and foolhardy, perhaps. Only once was I accused of being a witch of the wilds, and that by a chastened who happened to be traveling with a merchant caravan. He pointed and gasped, and began shouting in his strange language, and most assumed he was casting some curse upon me. I acted the terrified girl, and naturally, he was arrested.
That was quick thinking. What happened to the poor man? I'm supposed to be surprised you're a good liar? No, I think Artin would approve of that. That was sneaky. That was quick thinking.
Men are always willing to believe two things about a woman. One, that she is weak, and two, that she finds him attractive. I played the weakling and battered my eyelashes at the captain of the guard. Child's play. The point being that I was able to move through human lands fairly easily. Whatever humans think a witch of the wild looks like, 'tis not I. Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting?
I have no idea. I'm not human. Touching like a handshake? Were you upset by all the bad touching? Not number 3. That's childish. Touching like a handshake?
To begin with, yes. What is the point of touching my hand? I find it an offensive intrusion. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. when to look into another's eyes, how to eat at a table, how to bargain without offending. None of these things I knew. I still do not understand it all, truth be told, but then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so. When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving again.
Yet here you are. You can go back if you like. I guess the joke's on you then. Well, I'm glad it worked out this way at least. Yet here you are.
Yes, here I am. Well, let's get on with it before the ground opens up and swallows us, yes?
Not so fast, Morrigan.
What do you wish of me?
I'd like to ask you something.
If you must.
So Artin hasn't seen Morrigan's shape changer abilities, so I don't think she'd be asking about that. Have you ever been hunted by the Chantry? Is Flemeth really what she seems? That is a very interesting question, and I do think that Flemeth has been playing on Artin's mind a little bit. Is Flemeth really what she seems to be?
Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem to be?
An old woman, a powerful maleficar, a nutty old bat, human. Human?
Oh, she certainly was human. Once. Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the chastened still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience.
I didn't even know there was such a thing. I've heard a little of it. I'm more interested in the truth. Spare me the bedtime stories. Ooh. Artin does know a little of it because we read the codex entry. I'm more interested in the truth.
I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire.
That sounds interesting. All right, but make it quick. And the point would be no thanks. That sounds interesting.
As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful, a fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her.
Just how long ago is this? Yes, I've heard this part. Not true then. Just how long ago is this?
Many centuries, before this land was even named Ferelden. The tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the Bard, and fled the castle of her husband, the dread Lord Conabar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conabar the jealous lord who looked on from afar. Lord Conabar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife, and Osen agreed.
He sold his wife to another man. Flemeth must have been angry. Seems like a fair deal. Given the how marriages are in Orzammar, I get the feeling like Artin would think that was a fair deal. To be fair, marriages in... I'm just trying to think about it. Marriages in Orzammar, they are more... I don't think many of them are for love matches. They're more, you are of this caste and I'm of this caste, therefore we should be together. Seems like a fair deal.
Aye, it was. 'Twas Flemeth who suggested the arrangement in the first place.
Oh.
All would have been well had Lord Conabar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge.
She spoke to spirits or demons, but wasn't she now married to a wealthier man, so she truly loved Osen then? I don't think love comes into it. The guy lied. I'm very tempted by number one, but I don't know how much Artin knows about spirits and demons. And here's the thing though, she wasn't married to a wealthier man. He didn't have the money. I think I have to go between 2 or 3 because again, I don't know how much Artin knows about magical stuff. I've kind of been playing her thus far as that she really doesn't know much about magic or the circle. So therefore she wouldn't know about spirits and demons. She might know of them, but I don't think she'd know the intricacies. Conobar was a lord. He was a lord. That implies he had some land or something. But wasn't she now married to a wealthier man?
That was not the point. Conobar had no honor, so she would not have him. Flemeth begged the spirits to aid her, and 'twas they who slew Conobar. The demon the legend tells of came later. Lord Conobar's allies chased Flemeth, you see. Chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies.
Of course Flemeth would say that. Which, she never invaded or he never defeated her. Even my people have heard of Cormac. The fact that Artin's heard of Cormac I don't really think is the point. I think she'd be more interested in which bit is the lie. Which, she never invaded or he never defeated her.
The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero. Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually came, but Mother claims not to know how it began.
Do you believe her version? How is it that Flemeth has survived for so long? The legend tells of Flemeth having many daughters. Aren't abominations usually insane horrors? An interesting story. Thank you, that all sounds like hogwash. Let's see. The legend tells of Flemeth having many daughters.
You ask if I have sisters. I have asked of this myself. The stories tell of many witches of the wilds after all, not just the one. And these tales existed long before I did. Flemeth refuses to speak of other daughters, if they existed. So, should I believe I am her first? I doubt that too.
Why would she refuse to speak of them?
The Chastened tell of a falling out between Flemeth and her daughters. They say that one day she hunted them all through the wilds and ate their hearts. It may be true. I have never seen another witch or heard of one. Perhaps one day Flemeth will eat my heart as well.
Ugh. How is it that Flemeth has survived for so long?
The demon within her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to find her.
Do you believe her version?
I do not believe everything that Flemeth claims. Oft it seems her bitterness has colored her memories. But on the whole, yes, I believe this tale, if not all.
I don't think Artin knows anything about abominations, so I can't ask number 1. An interesting story. Thank you.
Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious nevertheless.
My mother died a long time ago. There is nothing really to say about her. I love her. What else do you want to know? Keep your curiosity to yourself. My mother died a long time ago.
Ah, then you have my sympathies for what it is worth. Which is very little, I am certain. It matters not. Let us move on.
Okay, now I'm actually going to ask Morrigan one more thing.
What do you wish of me?
I'd like to ask you something.
If you must.
Because one of the places we can go is the Circle of Magi, and I think asking number 2 would be rather pertinent to figure out if we want to take Morrigan with us. Have you ever been hunted by the Chantry?
My mother has been hunted from time to time, yes, by Templar fools like Alistair, which should tell you how successful they generally were. Flemeth made a bit of a game of it, in fact. The Templars would come again, and she would look at me and smile and say that the fun was to begin once more.
Fun? You found it fun? You really had no trouble with them. I feel sorry for the Templars. I think Artin would be rather confused with the idea of finding it fun. These men have come to kill you, and this is amusement? Fun. You found it fun?
I found the game fun. I was too young to understand the truth behind what was happening. Flemeth would warn them once. 'Twas a warning they inevitably failed to heed. And then the true game began. Often Flemeth would use me as bait. A little girl to scream and run and lure the Templars deeper into the wilds and to their doom.
Flemeth used you as bait. Did you actually kill them all? Surely more would have followed. Yeah, again, Artin finds Morrigan's relationship with her mother very confusing. I think Artin had a good relationship with her mother, and the idea of a mother using her own kid as like, you go lure the Templars, I'll be in the bushes, like that does not sit right with her. Flemeth used you as bait?
'Twas a game, and I a young girl. If I didn't get to play, I would have been very upset. Thankfully, the Wilds is a vast place. Once they found us, Flemeth would simply move us elsewhere, and we would be lost within the forest once again. I did not understand the danger we faced until I was much older. I had never heard of apostates or maleficarum.
Don't you regret hurting any of those men at all? What exactly is an apostate? Do you still think it was fun they got what they deserved? I don't think... Not number 1. Because it's the same thing that happened with those refugees that attacked Artin that we had to kill. If we hadn't have fought back, they would have killed us. And I don't think Artin and I don't think Morrigan would feel any regret about that. So I think Artin would kind of assume those Templars were going to kill her. It was either fight back or be killed. So no regrets necessary. I believe Artin knows enough to know what an apostate is. Did they get what they would deserve? They were doing their job. These are the laws of the land. Do you still think that was fun?
I think that my mother made it fun so that a child did not learn to fear. And I think that it was necessary. There are no trials for apostates, no prisons, no mercy. There are only absolutes, so only survival matters. If the Wilds have taught me anything, 'tis this. First, you must survive. Do you disagree?
Absolutely. There are worse things than death. That's a pathetic justification. You're probably right. I have no opinion on the matter. Ooh, this is interesting. Because I think the Wilds are very similar to Orzammar and the Deep Roads. And I think the dwarves do try very hard to survive. They're all too busy fighting each other to, like, succeed at that, but I think Artin can agree with that. I wish there was an option for, yes, I agree, rather than, you're probably right. Because, yeah, I do think she would agree with this. Survival is first and foremost. Once you've done that, then other things can come later, but you aren't going to get to those nice things if a Darkspawn runs you through. You're probably right.
An enlightened view, or at least an agreeable one. Enough of this talk. Let us return to the task at hand.
Okay, yeah, I don't think taking Morrigan with us to the Circle Tower would be particularly wise. Now then, I do have 2 more people to talk to. I need to speak to Alistair and Levi Dryden over there. However, unfortunately, I am out of time for this episode, so please remember to like if you enjoyed, leave a comment below, and if you wanted to subscribe, it would be very much appreciated. I've been Callista. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.